If things sound a little different than usual, I'm trying a new microphone setup, and I've also been a little sick, so there might be a little bit of nasaliness in this, so bear with me. Before this video begins, I want to do a little housekeeping. I said in last month's Girls Band Cry video, I wanted to do a mini-series of Spring 2024 anime and wrap that up into one conclusive video. Well, I ended up getting sick and lost a lot of time, so this being the first video of the new year, I wanted to start off with something unique. I want to revisit a certain movie that I've talked about before on this channel and one I covered the coming sequel to this time last year. Allow me to preface first, as it will help the video make sense later on. I'm going to put a spin on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion in this video in regard to the movie Expelled from Paradise. No, I am not getting into the political fighting ring with this. Please rest assured. Instead, DEI will refer to how resources are distributed amongst humanity, and you'll want to watch this video for a breakdown on that, either before or after this one, aka Equity, how the spacefaring citizens of DEVA and Earthbound humans are either forced to get along, or, at times, find strife with each other, as well as the impact Frontier Setter has on both, which is the diversity part. And then we have the inclusion part, or lack thereof. This one is tricky because there's almost no inclusion by DEVA to be had, whereas those left on Earth have already made their peace with advanced technology to a degree, and even artificial intelligence, such as Frontier Setter. With that understanding out of the way now, let's just go down the acronym. I'm starting with diversity. Also, if you're one of the large number of people who are not subscribed to this channel, I want you to think about how much better your life would be if you were. In Expelled from Paradise, EFP for short, diversity plays a major role in setting the world. Everyone from DEVA has biological data stored within the system that a material body can be made from, which is sort of blurring the lines between human and artificiality, but this is one of the three main groups represented throughout the movie: DEVA citizens, humans on Earth, and artificial intelligence. DEVA citizens are bombarded with overbearing announcements by Frontier Setter, whom we're led to believe is the movie's antagonist early on, hoping to persuade any number of DEVA citizens to join him on an intergalactic journey. Of course, everyone is happy where they are, in artificial bodies and allocated memory like a computer's operating system. Why would they want to give that up? If you know where I'm going with this, you might already know, but we'll get there. The fox in the henhouse here, however, is Angela Balzac. Remember what I said about blurring the lines between human and artificiality? Angela is a prime example of this. She is sent to Earth to track Frontier Setter down and quell any threats he might pose, and being a member of system security, she gets priority access. DEVA being a sort of combined intelligence is fascinating in this sense. But it's also ironic because they claim to be so high and mighty and absolutely must eliminate Frontier Setter when they already use AI systems in their own network. In a way, Frontier Setter is unfairly targeted just because he's only slightly annoying with the occasional announcement. Let's go a little deeper. Now, let's introduce the human side of things, aside from Angela, who later finally gains true humanity, essentially the me and you. Dingo is really the only human who plays a major role in the movie, but you could argue the trio of thugs around the midway point of the movie helped develop Angela's character while she's ill. She bears herself out, not knowing her own limits, and ultimately succumbs to some kind of illness. What reason does Dingo have to help her, aside from getting paid by DEVA? He doesn't, but that's just the thing. Dingo helps Angela and Frontier Setter because he believes in the good of humanity. Even though Angela is from DEVA and not a true Earthling, there's something to be said about the bond the three form: Angela, Dingo, and Frontier Setter. Here, you have a girl who's never been to Earth and accepts things for the way they are, but she's never had to think about diversity between DEVA citizens, Earthlings, and AI. Why would she when she has all the memory she could ever want and never has to worry about the desires of the flesh, hunger, thirst, etc.? When you look at it from the diversity perspective, it would have been almost impossible for Frontier Setter to launch a rocket into space, Angela to experience a life outside of the virtual realm, and Dingo to experience real companionship as he'd never really curated a relationship with anyone like he did with Angela before. And now, with the sequel set to release sometime in 2026, we'll have to wonder how this interplay will evolve. DEVA has made their intentions known, but if you remember anything from the trailer, we only get to see Angela and a quick glimpse of Dingo's guitar. While this particular bit here doesn't have as much to do with the diversity part of the video, if you think about it, had the events of the first movie not unfolded the way they did, there wouldn't be a sequel. Now, as you may have already guessed, equity, the equal distribution of resources amongst the members of a society, in this chapter of the video will be focusing mostly on the allocation of memory given to DEVA citizens. But there's a catch to that memory. You're only given as much as what you contribute to DEVA society. Is that truly a fair system though? Sure, you can feel around for subatomic particles with your fingertips or walk down a sandy beach. But what about everyone else who doesn't have enough memory to do those things? Are those who contribute less moved to storage to free up more memory for those who contribute more? Think about it, are these resources really being distributed equitably? In a world that is so hyper-focused on AI today, it begs the question of whether or not the immense computational resources these machines take will eventually decide they want more energy to fulfill their needs. Everyone is using AI now. So how does a world create an equitable distribution of resources when our very foundation runs on the notion of speed and streamlining everyday tasks? After the nanohazard incident, much of humanity left Earth for digital lives in DEVA, but life on Earth wasn't, and still isn't in the present day of the movie, dictated by memory allocation. Humans are still free to move around and do what they wish. They have freedom of thought, control, desire, and everything else that makes us human. To be uploaded into a virtual space with only so much memory, determined by how much you contribute to society, sounds good on paper, especially when you don't have to worry about money, food, water, shelter. But if you were relegated to only doing the same things over and over again because that's all the memory you have, would a life of freedom on Earth not sound more appealing? It's like when Dingo says you can feel music in your bones and Angela questions him about it, taking the statement literally. She doesn't understand that even though the flesh may be a prison, there are still pleasures to be had and enjoyed. Resources on Earth are based upon what you can acquire for yourself, a potentially unlimited amount if you do things right, whereas in DEVA, you only get so much memory, a set amount of resources. Sure, there's the chance to earn more, but what happens when someone has more memory than you and takes your spot in line? Then what? While it's nice to be able to do whatever you want, there comes a point where the overbearing nature of do more to earn more becomes the problem rather than the solution. Say we had the technology to perform such a task as hosting millions or even billions of people in a virtual network on a massive spaceship. While Earth is no longer as hospitable as it once was, it's still home and people do still make the most of it when they can. You have two options: live freely on Earth without restriction, or have your resources allocated to you based upon your contributions to society. Meritocracy. As you think about these questions, especially the last one, I want to move into the conclusion part of this video, or like I said in the intro, lack thereof. Before that, however, remember an earlier question I asked about why you'd want to give up a virtual life from one that can entail suffering on Earth? Why do you think someone would want to give that up? What would cause someone to favor one option over the other? Think about it. I've already given you plenty, and while I realize this isn't a college classroom, this channel is also designed to cover content in a way that makes you think. So, the inclusion. It seems that before the announcements by Frontier Setter, DEVA had no issues with AI, though we can't say definitively. DEVA deliberately seeks out help from agents on the Earth because they know that they can't complete missions on the surface without help from someone already down there. So there's a win-win situation here. DEVA has their interests satisfied and the agents get paid. Good reviews opens the door to potential work again in the future. There's a strong relationship between DEVA and Earth, but there's one party that's missing from all of this. Frontier Setter. I explained this in a short, which stems from this video, but is it possible there are biblical applications that can be had in this movie as well? Is DEVA too caught up in their sense of power and righteousness, like Lucifer? And thus Frontier Setter becomes the serpent in the Garden of Eden, tempting Angela and Dingo away from, quote, paradise? This lack of inclusion sets the stage for Angela's expulsion from paradise, but it also affirms Dingo's free-spirited nature and desire to connect everyone through equal means. Frontier Setter asked everyone on DEVA through his announcements, as well as Dingo and Angela, if they would join him on his journey into space. While he received no offers, what's notable is the fact that he, indeed, went off alone. Said he wanted a free and fair system that incorporated everyone, regardless of who they were or where they were from. It didn't matter that he was a highly advanced artificial intelligence, though it speaks volumes that he developed such an inclusive nature through his own evolution. It matters that he did what DEVA wouldn't. Attempt to include everyone through purely genuine means, no strings attached. DEVA only wanted what could benefit it most, as the line, paradise can already be found right here at the end of the movie, in the English dub, only further incriminates DEVA as an entity that believes it is the pinnacle of humanity, and that they are essentially a perfect body in a perfect system. Therefore, what need is there to acquire more resources to distribute more equitable amounts of memory? DEVA already has 98% of humanity stored within its servers. What need is there for greater diversity when they already have it? The answers to those questions varies depending on who you ask and who's seen the movie. I'm on at the bare minimum my 10th rewatch of the movie, not to mention the hundreds of hours I've spent listening to Aeonian. All in all, Expelled from Paradise is a fascinating movie that challenges the idea of artificial intelligence, meritocracy, and what it means to have a digital identity while still retaining that part that makes you human. I know structuring this video around DEI was bold, but DEI doesn't have to have just one meaning. Think about how to apply anything in your life in different ways aside from the usual. In a world that's bound for something monumental in the coming decades, yes, decades, I think it's important to have conversations like these. But Expelled from Paradise's storytelling is also incredibly strong, with many powerful themes standing at the helm, just waiting to be analyzed through a theoretical lens. So, what do you think will come first? A virtual paradise like in the movie, or will we reach the singularity point as AI continues to advance? If you haven't seen this movie yet, now just might be the time to give it a try, or rewatch it 1 to 2 times a year like me. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed a different style of video than what is usual around here.